Hey, GFI family, I have a special treat for you. We have Sam Lee. He's an Asian American actor. He's heavily featured on Smile Squad, and he's in two other projects, Woman is Losers and The Inheritance. How are you today?
I am very, very good. Thank you for asking.
Okay, I know that we had to have a conversation beforehand, and I got to hear it, but I want everybody to hear, how did you make it to where you are now? Because honestly, my 9-year-old daughter, she's on social media and she's searching you like every single day. So tell us your story. How did you go from, just Sam Lee student to Sam Lee social media superstar?
First of all, that's crazy. I had no idea that your daughter was watching our videos. That's so awesome to hear that. I started, I guess, going way back. I started making videos in high school, and I kind of knew senior year of high school I really wanted to do this. I really liked. At first, I was like behind the camera. I just liked creating stuff, directing stuff, etc. And then it was until college where I was like, man, I really want to kind of dabble in performing arts and acting. And so I started doing a lot of theater, had a very traditional training. Most of like my first 2 years of training, acting training, was like very like dramatic, Shakespeare. Like it was just very different from what I'm doing right now. But eventually, I always carried with me that sense of creating. So I think it was just the timing of, when Smile Squad was looking for another creator and they were looking for the criteria to hire a creator. I think it was just everything that I had been working up to, having the acting training, and then also just naturally since the get-go wanting to be a creator, wanting to shoot and create my own content, eventually starring in my own content. All of those experiences kind of fit exactly what Smile Squad was looking for, which is how I made that transition. And now I'm working full time with Smile Squad.
That's amazing. Now, social media is changing the narrative in Hollywood. How's it impacted you, and where do you hope to see it go in the next few years?
Yeah, social media has been completely it's taking over. I think it's taken over the industry in a lot of ways. Before, there was a lot of doubt as to, the credibility of social media, but I think now more than ever, people are starting to realize that social media is here to stay and it's going to keep evolving. And just the other day, I think on the Hollywood Reporter or on like a Hollywood magazine, I forgot what it was. But it featured TikTok creators. The front page was about TikTok creators, was about social media content. So I think that, we're going to see a big change. I don't necessarily think that it's going to take over. I think that there's still a long ways to go and that it's still two separate industries in a lot of ways. It's like social media and then there's film and TV, and we're going to see some merges, but for the most part, they're very different. The skill set you need for each one is very different. But I do think that one of the most important things that social media has done is that it's given a voice to a lot of creators that normally wouldn't have the opportunity to be able to have that voice. A lot of people that I think, not necessarily in the sense that they're like minorities or anything like that, but it would be like, underrepresented people may not be able to be in the spotlight without helping themselves. And that is through social media. That is creating their own content and developing their own fan base. Whereas because of that, due to that, now we are starting to see those conversations take place in Hollywood.
I think that's amazing. And one of the reasons I tapped you for this interview is basically you're an Asian American actor. We're not seeing a lot in Hollywood. No, we're still trying to make a name for ourselves out there. Do you feel like as you're going on auditions, not just, well, maybe including for Smile Squad, do you feel like you're getting stereotyped into roles at all?
Absolutely. I think it's, but it's all about, I think, how you see things. It's all about perspective. So I think that for me, I've always known that, when I walk into a room, people aren't going to look at me the same way they're going to look at I mean, it's a dumb comparison, but like Ryan Gosling, before Ryan Gosling was Ryan Gosling, like I'm just not that kind of person. I walk in the room, they're going to think, oh, he is an Asian male, young Asian male, possibly athletic, possibly dorky, like there's all of these thoughts and these expectations and these judgments that people will put on you as you walk into the room. But for what I try to do is I try to just play to those, obviously not in like a stereotypical way. If things are very stereotypical, I'm not going to make it stereotypical. I'm going to bring it into a way that it's not going to seem like that. And I think in a lot of ways, that's kind of the art to it, is that maybe if something is accidentally stereotypical, whether it's an audition or a role or something, you find a way to humanize that. And if you do that, I think it's going to brighten up the room. And I think it's going to change the way that people originally received whatever script or whatever project or whatever scene that they're working on. So you do see that a lot, especially like they'll have very Asian specific roles they're casting for. In the sense of Smile Squad, they were looking for, they're really big on diversity. So they were really looking for someone with a diverse background. And I think I just really played to that. I'm bilingual. One of the first videos we made was called Bilingual People, Awkward Moments for Bilingual People. That video has over 30 million views now. It's gone super viral. And that was one of my first videos that I did that I think I've really played to my strengths and kind of nurtured that relationship to make more and more videos and eventually be full-time with Smile Squad.
Let me tell you, that video is the most relatable video I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's so funny. We just had a meeting today and we were talking about making more videos like that. So we may be making more bilingual people videos in different formats.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like, whenever I watch any of your Smile Squad videos, it actually just makes me laugh, and I love it. Like,
that's amazing.
Earlier this year, separated from my husband, and I was going through like this deep, deep depression. And honestly, what I did was watch Smile Squad videos the whole time until I finally kind of pulled myself out of it. So if that tells you anything, you guys are impacting. Like, it definitely made my day. My neighbor would come over and be like, "You need a Smile Squad video. Put it on right now." Like, so
that's hilarious. Well, it is an honor and a privilege to hear that. Thank you.
Yeah. So one question that's been on my mind is, how do you guys come up with your content? Because it's hilarious, it's super relatable, and in most cases, very true as far as, every aspect of it.
Yeah, that's what we really try to do. That I think we do really well as a team is we're really open to ideas. We're really open to changes, and we're really open to just kind of adapting in general. So, if we have a staff of writers that helps, come up with ideas and kind of brainstorm and pitch to creators, but all of us just kind of pitch in and we kind of try to explore new ideas and think, what could be fun videos that we haven't done before. But our common theme is definitely relatability. And we are our ultimate goal is to do exactly what you just said, is bring a smile to people. That at the end of the day, that's really what we value the most, what we think we're the best at. So that's we go all in on those aspects.
Speaking of relatable content, I noticed there's a certain theme in your videos lately, and it has to do with this COVID-19 crisis. Can you talk about that and how it's impacted you guys and how it's changed your daily schedule?
Yeah, the current situation that's going on throughout the world and really in the United States has been very tricky to figure out. We have definitely made a lot of changes in terms of what we normally do. We're a very collaborative environment. We try to meet and have meetings together in person, but that's changed. We've had to do Zoom meetings and talk virtually. So it has been tough. And our normal format of filming videos, we always try to film it, in public areas or with different actors and actresses. And that's become very tricky. So we've had to really adjust the way that we film our videos. But I feel like, sometimes within limitations, you find creativity. So we've been able to find a lot of unique ideas that I don't think would have ever explored had we not been put in that position. But it has changed, and hopefully as the economy opens up and as things open up, we'll see where things go. We're going to play it by ear and just make sure everybody's safe and healthy and happy with their situation.
Honestly, your quarantine after 2 months video, it was like you were reading my inner thoughts. I'm not gonna lie to you.
That was a fun one. That one was really interesting.
Yeah. And I love their videos, but you're such a talented actor. Let's talk about these other projects. Let's talk about Women as Losers first. Tell me about it, because the title kind of turns me off, not to lie to you, but tell me about it. What is it about?
Yeah, so the title is actually a song called Women as Losers. And contrary to the title, it is not about women being losers at all. It
Good.
is a really, it's an incredible film with a very powerful message. And it's very, how do I put it? Besides, I think it's just one of those films that is going to leave a legacy. It's going to leave an impact and really change the way that you view the world in a very inspiring way. It's stars of a lot of really, really famous people. I don't know the whole details about it yet, but I do think that, there's so many stars attached to it. They had, a massive budget that they were able to film in San Francisco and in multiple locations. When I got attached to the project, I was in San Francisco. I was hired locally. Now I'm in Los Angeles, but I was hired locally. And in that film, I play this character. His name is Gilbert, but I play his great-grandfather. And that character, Gilbert, is actually played by Simu Liu, who is Shang-Chi. He is the Shang-Chi, the first Marvel Asian American, Asian-led superhero film, which is massive. It's crazy to think about, like just crazy to think that I shared a scene with someone who is going to leave such a big impact on the Asian community, who has already left such a big impact on the Asian community. And I think, just that film in itself is very inspiring, but from my experience behind the scenes of getting attached to the project and working through it and seeing where it is now and seeing where the actors are now is very inspiring for me and has left a big impact on my personal career. I think it's one of those milestones very early on in my career that if I, when I get to bigger, better places in the future, I'm going to look back and be like, wow, that was incredible. That's, one of those films that was my first start in the industry.
That's amazing. And now I want to talk about a film that you're actually the lead in. Can you tell me about The Inheritance?
Yes. The Inheritance is a feature film that stars Chinese Americans. And it stars some other actors. It's a very diverse film to begin with. But it was huge because when you're on casting breakdowns in Los Angeles and you're looking for roles that people are hiring for, you just don't see a lot of Asian, like we want an Asian lead, like very specifically a Chinese American lead, Asian lead. And so when I saw that, it was like, wow, I have not seen this in a long time. Like this is crazy. So I had auditioned, ended up getting the part and worked on that film, and that film was very exciting just because, the story, to sum it up, is about a very rich family, a very rich Chinese family that ends up getting robbed. I don't want to spoil anything, but it basically ends up getting robbed, and there was a lot of money that was put into the set design, into making our characters, me and my brother's character, look like royalty. They're supposed to be like crazy rich Asians. So for me, that was the first time that I had experienced so much extravaganza, so much like wealth in a film, because, normally when you're working on student films or smaller films, they're not telling those stories. They don't have the money to tell those stories. And for me, it was like, whoa, this was really crazy. It felt like I was in like Crazy Rich Asians for like a second, which is like, it's a dream in itself. So it was really interesting. We had Lamborghinis and
wow,
fancy cars like on set and all kinds of stuff. So it was definitely a very exciting project.
Did you get to keep any souvenirs from set? Like, or did you take something? Let me just ask that, because sometimes you don't get to keep, but you take it anyways.
I had asked the producers what the odds of me keeping that Lamborghini was, and they said they think about it. Still haven't heard back from them. So, just a suit. I kept a suit.
Nice.
The suit in the film, it was
Okay.
tailored for me. So that was really cool. It was a tailored suit, and that's the first time I actually wore a tailored suit.
Oh,
So,
wow.
and I got to keep it. So
So are we
now I
going to
have.
see that featured in other Smile Squad videos, walking around in the suit?
We'll see. We'll see. I haven't whipped it out yet, but maybe one of these days.
Sure. So when is this movie coming out so people know when to look out for it?
I can't speak on behalf of the production, but I know we are in post-production officially.
So,
Usually, I mean, it takes 6 months to a year, so maybe I want to say we're 6 months away. We're about a half year away. Yeah,
we'll
not super sure, but
keep us posted at GFI. We're all going to watch it. That is 100% for sure.
awesome.
You mentioned earlier one of your influences that you got to work with on set. Can you talk about some of your Hollywood influences and how it impacts your acting career?
Yeah. Let's see. I mean, I have so many influences, but I haven't thought about it in a while, because the last time I thought about my influences, they were predominantly white because there just wasn't a lot of Asian actors out there. But that's slowly changed a lot, like more so than ever throughout just recently, just because there's so much more opportunities for Asian actors. But me personally, some of the actors that I look up to the most are actors that really just have a lot of flexibility. Guys like Jake Gyllenhaal, guys like, Edward Norton, people that really, Gary Oldman, people that could really have transformative experiences, because at the end of the day, I think that's what acting is to have those transformative experiences. Even in Smile Squad skits, I personally think I try to get really quirky with things and try new characters and stuff like that, and just try new ways of acting, just to surprise myself. But I mean, with Smile Squad, it's a little different because we move so fast and we make so much content. But
Mm-hmm.
it's really funny, because if you just look at, like, eventually when The Inheritance comes out, or in Women as Losers, or in any of the other films I've done, it's very different. It's very different from my Smile Squad videos. So I guess those are my influences. And if there's one thing I hope to take away, I hope everyone can take away from what I value, is that one day, you'll be watching one of my movies or one of the shows I'm in, and then be like, oh my God, is that the guy from Smile Squad? Or like, oh my gosh, is that the guy from I just hope that people won't realize it's me, and then will be shocked to realize it's me, because it doesn't seem like me. That'd be really exciting, and that's something I always try to work for, is to just really, really create new experiences for myself, because at the end of the day, I think that's what acting is all about.
You know what? You're already kind of changing the landscape in Hollywood. It's something that you mentioned earlier, that you don't see a lot of Asian American actors, therefore the influence is not there. And that was like me growing up. All my actors were predominantly white actors or black actors. And
Mm-hmm.
hearing my daughter talk, she talks about you all the time.
Wow,
Yeah. I have
oh
four
my
little
gosh.
girls and one little boy, and they get together every day and they wait for the new content. And they're like,
Wow.
and
Okay.
now she really wants to be an actor too. So thank you. Like, you are changing
Wow.
the
Yeah.
landscape, and she definitely is like, well, hey, he kind of looks like me. I want to be an actor too. If he can do it, I can do it. And I think that's such a positive message to send.
That's so inspiring to hear that.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And it's not like you're being typecast, like you said. I was curious what your experience was, but from what I've seen, you're playing all kinds of roles, so to speak. And your girlfriend will probably laugh at this. Your couple's realistic versus expectation videos. My kids reenacted that.
No way. Wow.
And so they were just going nuts. So when I told them I was interviewing you, they're like, there's no way, Mom. We'll prove it. Like, you're gonna have to prove it later. So
Well, call the kids in. Let me say hello.
Yeah, do you want me
Just
to
keep
bring
it
them?
playing.
Yeah, I was gonna say I could bring them up later, but they'll definitely be watching. They probably won't let you get off if that's the case. So, you know, we are wrapping this interview up shortly, and two questions I always ask everybody that I interview. Where
Mhm.
do you see yourself in 5 years?
Yeah. Oh, great question. That's crazy. I feel like I've always tried to set myself up with this question, and every year it just goes
Changes.
completely off path. I feel like that's just the nature of life, but especially this industry, even more so. Um, I definitely think, ever since I've met Markian and worked with Smile Squad, it's really changed my entire perspective on just content creation and sort of the possibilities of social media, the possibilities of creating my own content, whether that is for social media or eventually developing my own for film and TV. So I think if I can, just if I could be working on multiple things and be challenging myself, as long as I am in a position where I'm uncomfortable and I'm in somewhere new, I think for me, that's what it's all about, is really breaking barriers and getting to the places where it's the most uncomfortable for me, or difficult, like difficulty wise. That's where I feel like I thrive in and get the most value out of. So nothing specific, but I hope that kind of allows you to see where my mindset's at.
And that's a great mindset to have. You're a very young actor, and not a lot of people think in that perspective. Like, I've never actually heard someone say, I want to be uncomfortable before. So that's really unique, and it's actually really powerful. Um, the next question I have for you is, what advice would you give somebody who wants to break into the industry? Because a little bit about the background of our GFI family. These are all individuals who strive to achieve the impossible, to go for it no matter what the odds are. So, for anybody specifically looking to break into your industry, what advice would you give?
Um, Man, I mean, going for it is such a great phrase to just hold on to. I feel like that is one of probably the best advices to give is honestly, you just have to commit. You have to go for it. You're gonna fail most likely a lot. You're gonna run into a lot of barriers. I think that's very normal, and it's all about how you handle those barriers and how you handle the problems you run into, and to just be consistent. Social support is huge. Finding a group of people that really support what you're doing, because I know that if you're in an environment where people aren't supportive of you, you're going to have a hard time. You're going to be filled with more doubt. You're going to be filled with more insecurities. And if you're trying to do something that is going to be challenging, then that's just more important to have. It's so important to have a group of people that trust you, because that's what it's all about, is about challenging yourself and getting to those places that you're going to learn from, because from failure and being uncomfortable and those barriers are where you're going to learn the most and hopefully grow from the most.
That's amazing. Thank you for joining us today. GFI family, you heard it first from Sam Lee. Go check out his content on Smile Squad. Check out his movies coming up. It's amazing. This was such an honor to interview you, and we're excited to see where you go from here. And really, honestly, I believe fully that there's going to be a bunch of people who watch this and go, man, that was inspirational. I'm going to go for it and drive forward with momentum. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, awesome. Bye, guys.